We're gearing up for the Battle of the Beltways.
And I'll be talking offense.
It's going to be a movie.
And I'm fired up about the joint practices.
And it all starts right now. What a scene from up in Baltimore. Welcome to Command Center. Logan Paulson, Fred Smoot, Santana Moss, Michael Jenkins. What do you guys remember from joint practices?
Told you left hook, right hook. You know, sometimes you get in there, it's just an emotional outburst. Like your team against us, you against us. But I think it also brings us together because when the chaos do start, it's us against them.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember like not really knowing what the tempo was.
Yeah.
You come in and it's like, do I go as hard as I can? Is it chilled out? And the coach is like, hey, be smart, be smart. I'm behind the back like, hey man, beat that guy.
Yeah,
You're like,
do
okay,
it.
so I gotta ramp it up a bit. So that was always a really tough thing about joint practice.
The thing I remember the most is having a routine and then telling myself as a vet, I have to break this routine. I'm going against someone else, and it's still a practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have a routine for practice, you have a routine for games, and I'm saying to myself, which one do I use now? Because it is against another uniform, and it's supposed to be live, but it's still practice. So I had to break that, and I had to find a way just to get through it.
Be non-emotional. That's what y'all had to be,
I mean,
non-emotional.
that's what Tana said. I think that's really good.
Fred, you're going to be emotional because you're already fired up.
I'm always fired up. Let me just shake a fire right there. I'm fired up. Yeah, you right. Put me out.
Time for Fred's Fired Up, presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of your Washington Commanders.
Welcome to Fred's Fired Up, and I'm fired up this week because we get to practice against somebody other than the team. All right, we get to practice against some Ravens, our cousins up the Beltway. I'm fired up because we get to go and see what their offensive line look like. We get to measure up against their defensive line. We get to see Sam Howell get to say against their defense, and we get to see what our DBs look like against their wide out. What you like about training camp?
I actually like the fights of the joint practice.
I thought you was know about it. What about you, Tana?
Absolutely not.
It's nothing. Got me fired up because I love everything about it. We gonna watch it this week.
Fred, you're excited. We're all excited because we're closer to the season, but what is the real goal of a joint practice?
I think it's actually for the top end guys, the top of the guys at the roster, to be viewed and measured against their top guys. All right, so the preseason games, they're for the bottom 53 on the roster to see can they make the team. But now I can put in game plan without other teams watching it. I can watch my number ones against their number ones. I can watch the trench warfare, offensive line, defensive line. It's a little bit of everything, and we get to do it in secrecy.
What about individual goals? Look good.
Yeah.
Put good stuff on tape.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. Everyone's not going to make these teams.
Yeah.
So you got coaches on this side saying, that
that
player
guy,
too over there
absolutely.
might can fit over here in the same way, vice versa. So I just think it's all about, you have different goals, whether we are with a team or individually, but you want to put good stuff on tape.
I think for me, it's just like the situational stuff, right? Obviously, there's the one-on-one matchups with players, but I think it's like, hey, we really got to dial in on red zone. Let's go against another defense with our red zone stuff, or third down, or 2 minute, or whatever it is. I think that stuff's super important. And again, you can show more in these practices than you can in the game. I think it really helps you kind of flesh out where's the roster at, where's our offense and defense at, where's our scheme at. It's a really valuable tool.
How much different is it when you're in a different location and you got different guys across from you finally?
I mean, it's nice, kind of. It's nice, but it's also stressful, right? Because it's like what are we actually doing? Like, what's the tempo? I remember being in practice and then be like, all right, guys, we're 80%. Then somebody coming flying and you're like, no way that was 80%. So I gotta wrap that up. So again, that's always a little tough, but it's always nice, again, kind of getting out of like fighting your own brother and getting to something different. And again, doing more of what you're going to be doing in season is always great.
And that's what I was about to say. It's that brother versus neighbor competition. You know what? We beat on each other as brothers until we go against the neighbors, and that's what it is. But it's also that thing is, like he brought up, situational football. I can work on third and long on this. I can work on goal zone. I can work on everything, especially when I can look at that other team and know the strength of their team. Talk about the Ravens, talk about their offensive line. Our strength supposed to be our defensive line. Great matchup.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've always done too is just fill the room out. And I'm not saying fill the room as in a room, but filling out how these guys are going to taking me, you know, being who I am, you know what I mean? See what the temperature is towards myself. Like, you go out there, you know, you have respect. You talked about this. When you're playing against your guys, you know certain things that they do, they're not trying to harm you.
Yeah.
But these guys, whether do they have respect and say, like, that's OG, we gonna let them slide, or we gonna say, you ain't getting nothing out here.
We gonna try you a little bit.
I felt that, heard that, so you have to change your mentality of how you're gonna, you know, what kind of intensity you're gonna bring.
From a coaching perspective, what are the coaches looking for in practices like this?
Well, the coaches looking to make sure that their squad look good.
Yeah.
They don't want to get pumped. So at the end of the day, just know if you go out there and you put bad stuff on tape, they're gonna tell you, they're gonna have that dot on you in practice, and we're gonna be in film session, and they're gonna make sure tomorrow you better bring something else or else. You know.
Yeah. I'm glad we bringing this and attaching it to family, because we are one big football family. So it's like coming home and telling your dad, I just got beat up at the bus station, and then your dad, he a little ashamed, but he tell you go back outside that door. Don't come back in here till you handle your business. So it's one of that things, a mono meet a mono. What are you gonna do? How you gonna answer questions? But it's about the measuring stick. And the Ravens has been a upper echelon team in this league. And if you can play with them, you can play with anybody.
And I think it's also like, yes, there's a tempo and urgency in practice. And I remember we had a joint practice against New England, and they were like, here. They were running each drill. They knew exactly what to do. They were super professional. Techniques were locked in. And I felt like we were outclassed in that game just from the first day of practice. So where do we line up from that standpoint? What's our energy like? What's our tempo? Are we finishing plays? And if I'm a coach, I want to see that, because I say, hey, we're doing the right things. We're getting these guys set up for success in the season.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because even though in practice, you know, the Patriots look better, you know, more professional than us. When we measured up in that preseason game, we just didn't lay an egg. We went out there and kicked butt. So you can take it for however far you want to go with it, but still at the end of the day, you want to put good stuff on tape and try to win.
And you don't want to have to go back to the bus stop.
Most definitely going to the bus stop.
Like Fred said.
Never made a fight.
He coming in crying.
I'm gonna give him a left, I'm gonna give him a right. With it right in his left.
Daddy got beat up.
It's time for Field Pass, brought to you by FedEx, where now meets next. London, we always know that joint practices can be chippy, so how's the intensity been up there?
Jinx, you're spot on. Joint practices are very chippy, and you know, there were a few melees that broke out between the two teams, but I will say this, the coaches did a great job of bringing the teams together and saying, hey, let's cut this out, let's continue to work and get the work done that we want to accomplish here. But as you can expect, the physicality and intensity was going to ramp up when you have two teams going against one another. But it's a great situation out here in Owens Mills. I'm sure the coaches were happy with day one.
The Ravens D is always very stout, and the Commanders want to work on their O-line. So how's that O-line looked?
I thought the offensive line did great, and they got great individual work against them, the Ravens defensive front, and also you know, as a team. One thing I noticed during the individual group periods or team periods, I should say, the Ravens offensive line went against our defensive line in one-on-one pass rushing or pass block situations, but there was also situations where it may have been 2- and 3-man defensive line groups for the Ravens working against our interior defensive line or our tackle and guard combination. So they worked those different stunts. And I tell you what, our offensive line performed extremely well in those groups, those different drills. And I'm sure, you know, the offensive line coach Rivera, and they had to be pleased with the work that they got done here on day one.
What sort of one-on-one battles have you noticed?
You know, obviously, there's going to be one-on-one battles with the receivers, and the Ravens have some great group of receivers led by Odell Beckham Jr. and then our cornerback. So you're going to see those type of one-on-one battles. But also on the flip side, we have some talented receivers on our side of the ball. So the receivers and the defensive back one-on-one positions, those are always, you know, a great thing to watch in training camp. You know, there were some wins for both sides. I must admit it wasn't one-sided by any means. I will say this: Emmanuel Forbes had a great pass breakup during the team period on Odell Beckham Jr. down the sideline, and for him to, you know, be able to make that pass breakup and not commit a pass interference, that's why you brought him here. He used those long arms to break up a pass that Beckham was going to haul in.
That's our captain, London Fletcher. Thanks, London.
Thanks.
Always great to hear from London and excited to see these guys out on game day. And that is a good thing because we've got all the pregame and postgame coverage you need. Join us before kickoff starting at 7 o'clock for Command Center Game Day Live. You'll get live footage from warm-ups, expert analysis from Washington alumni, and interviews from some of your favorite players. Then after the game, we've got you covered on Command Center Postgame Live. We'll recap the action, bring you the live postgame press conferences, and you can check out both shows streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Let's check out some of the stars from last game day against the Browns. Sam Howell, a very efficient 9 of 12, 77 yards and a touchdown. Jahan Dotson, only 2 receptions, but that beautiful 26-yard touchdown reception from Sam Howell. Khaleke Hudson with 6 total tackles, and Percy Butler got himself a pick. Grab some popcorn. It's time for Mission Debrief, brought to you by the Washington Times. All right, forget about Barbie. Forget about Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
We're going to the movies Commander
Nice.
style.
Love the movies.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to watch the highlights from the Browns game. You got your popcorn?
I got it.
All right.
Mine almost done.
I know. Ken is crushing his popcorn.
And of course, Smooth, we start with Emmanuel Forbes.
Hey, that's how you start a movie, with a bulldog making a play that they say he couldn't make because he's only 170 pounds. Well, 170 pound people hurt people too, and I'm watching it happen right
I
here.
mean, give Cam Kroll some props here, though, man. He's the one I think that's doing most of this dumping here.
That was all about Emmanuel Forbes right there.
And another Bulldog, man. What you got? This is like...
A highlight of Bulldogs going out there and make plays. That shouldn't shock you, Tana. That shouldn't shock you, G. That show shouldn't shock you, Logan.
I love this play because they're trying to read Montez Sweat, and when you're reading good athletes, it's tough because they can outrun the running back, they can break that play up. It's awesome.
We got some defense. Now we got to go with some offense. And Jahan Dotson on a wet field with a wet football making this catch.
No longer now. Taking cane from a baby right here, baby.
First of all, get this man an Oscar. All right, the moves that he does, that's unbelievable what he does to people when he's riding them up.
Yeah, I love that. And this is a tough matchup for number 33. He thinks, oh, I'm in my first preseason game. Mom's watching at home. Get burned for a touchdown. That's a tough deal.
Yeah, mom got to watch you get burned. It happens.
When you talk about this receiving core, how about Byron Pringle and this dime from Jacoby Brissett?
Hey, first of all, you like tater chips, I like Pringles. All right? That's what this guy brings to the table right here. And he's been in his office, but like you said, it's the throw right
Yeah, it's the throw. I mean, look at this thing, Fred. I don't know how you defend this. That's right over the DB's ear, right in the basket. Doesn't get much better than that.
I mean, great release, great catch. And I mean, just his name alone, like you said, them Pringles.
Hey, at the end of the day, it's one of those passes where the only people love you in that stadium is your mother and your girlfriend. Everybody else hates you as a DB.
How about Percy Butler getting some run with this pick? The only pick of the game, but it was a good one.
Hey, you gotta love this. This guy is one of those guys where they've been waiting for him to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
We know he can run, but the one thing about it is he's starting to use his cerebral in the game right now. So that's a great pick by him.
This was a big confidence booster. I think it's great for a young guy to see that ball early in a preseason game like this in his second year. It brings a bunch of more confidence going into the season.
And you know, everyone's talking about this interception, man, but he was excellent in tackling, he was excellent in coverage, feeling that stuff out. And so to me, that's where he's made the biggest jump, right? It's kind of in the soft zones underneath and fitting runs and running fast to the football. You see how fast he is there? I like to see that all the time. He's been doing that much.
The funny part about this play also is Joshua Dobbs, it was bad by him.
Hoping for more scenes like that on Monday night, but now it's time for Tana's Takes.
So, fellas, changing up a little bit. You know, we're still in the preseason. We're still in training camp mode. So, I'm going to throw it out there at you guys. You tell me how you feel, and then I'll give you my take on it.
The final word.
Yes.
Final word.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how Logan finished that. All right, first one, fellas. EB's offense. I want to hear Logan first.
So, I mean, obviously, it's a very small sample size. It was 21 plays with the ones. And I think the thing I like about it is we got some unique formations, right, that kind of help the quarterback dissect coverage. I like how he's using heavy personnel to throw the football, not run the football. it just shows like a layering of thought that I like, even though it's just kind of day one, day two install.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing against Baltimore. But that's kind of my high level thought.
I love the tempo. I love the
tempo,
problem solving.
Yeah.
I love where he put people in position to make plays and he expected the plays to be made.
Yeah.
I like how he crosses his T's and he dots those I's.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we see a different type of offense being held accountable in a different type way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have the same kind of aspect on both of you guys' takes when it comes to just the energy about the offense.
Yeah.
Flows a little different. Especially when it's preseason, we're not sure what we're going to see, but for right now, I saw enough in that first game. I'm pretty sure the second game we'll probably see a little more. One of the things that stood out to me is just some of the different things that we're probably going to be seeing. We probably haven't seen that much in the preseason yet, but the different matchups, the different ways he's going to take advantage of who's in the game and how we're going to get you on that mismatch or two. So I saw some of that in practice, haven't seen in the preseason. Pretty sure going to see more. Man, EB's offense is going to be one of those offenses that we're going to be scratching our heads saying, this is why he's here.
Yeah.
All right, good job, fellas. Second one, standout player from game one, preseason game one. Who you think, Fred?
My guy would. Why are you looking at
I'm curious.
What you want me to say, Emmanuel Ford? No, Cole Turner. Like Cole Turner. Hey, the guy stepped in when he was asked to, caught 5 passes, led the teams in reception, showed he can run after the catch, showed that long, big old catch radius. He's showing you I can be the future at the tight end spot. And he the guy we've been waiting on, though.
Yeah.
And we've seen him in practice.
Yeah.
And so like it's nice to see him finally do that in the game.
Yeah.
Mine is Chris Rodriguez. I mean, he was outstanding, I thought. And you know, everyone said he's not going to look good till you put the pads on until he's in the game. And I totally agree with that. Like, he looked fine in practice, but seeing him break those arm tackles, run physical, establish and assert himself with a high yards per carry, again, that was fantastic. So give him credit.
We can pick a few guys up there. Chris could be one of those guys. Sam could be one of those guys. Cole Turner was the guy that shined the light. I'm sticking to my realm of things, the people who I like to talk about the most, the wide receivers, and I'm going with Jahan Dotson.
Look, y'all offensive guys.
I have to, call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm going to speak about Jahan is just, it's one thing when we talk about you all off season long. It's another thing when you gave us something to talk about all season long, and then you come out here day one in camp, day 2 in camp, day 3 in camp, all the way over to the preseason game, and you still going out there routing guys up, looking smooth as butter. I mean, he's just one of those guys, man. So I take pride at watching guys do what I do. I take pride in calling the ones out who can do what I do at a top level. And then when you go out there and show and make me look good, then I got to take pride and speak on you. So Jahan Dotson, to me, standout player, preseason game one.
I kind of felt like a Fred fired up.
No,
I'm fired
he
up
was
now.
very fired up. We got a nickname for Dotson, too. We're going to call him the Ginzu.
Oh, wow.
Ginzu?
What does that even mean, bro?
You're not on the Ginzu knife. You don't cook, do you?
No, I don't cook.
You cut stuff. It's one of the best knives you can get.
So it's like a
He
knife?
knows it all.
It's like knifing people. He cutting them up.
All right, that is a good one, though. All right, last but not least, who's the under-the-radar player right now in the preseason?
Hey, you know what? I usually don't like football players with regular names like Willie Anderson and stuff like that. But Danny Johnson.
What?
No, football players usually have crazy names like Freddie Smoot, Santana Moss, Paulson.
I know Danny's been having a good practice, right?
Yeah.
But like in the game, though,
sticky coverage in the game.
I'm saying,
Yeah,
you
he
got
was
Percy,
sticky.
you
He
got
was tight.
Christian Holmes, you got Reeves, like
And I got Walmart and Kmart. It don't matter. At the end of the day, I'm telling you who I thought is the guy that's sticking out, and he's just a constant.
Yeah.
He's so constant that we don't go up and down with him. We just get numb to him playing at the level. Every time he's asked to come into the game and fill in, he comes in and he does everything. He's under the radar because you didn't even know who he was.
Of course I know who he was. Come on, man.
All right,
Don't
who
give me
think,
that.
Lope?
For me, it's Chris Paul. And I think Chris Paul is the guy that looked like he had a lot of potential last year. And then all of a sudden, Zeke Charles was out with that calf injury, and every single day he's going to battle with John Allen. And he's not winning every single one, but he's showing the physicality, showing the strength. And he just got better and better and better. And I thought, what's he going to look like? What's he going to look like when it's time to play the game? And he came out and did an excellent job. Physical.
Chris Paul, out of all those people you could have picked, you picked Chris Paul.
Why not?
Well, first of all,
Because he's a rookie. He's a new starter. Come on, man. People thought he was going to be the backup guy. He comes in and plays at a high level.
Chris Paul.
Yeah, it's
dig that.
I'm just wondering why you never picked
trying to make
defensive
an argument
players.
just to argue, man. He just like arguing. Okay, my guy would be Christian Holmes.
Okay.
We kind of mentioned him a little bit. Christian Holmes only had one tackle, but he had 2 I think what you call that when a guy getting ready to catch a ball
and we get that contact back.
Oh, that
we
was
call it a
great.
PBU. We want it all.
He had 2 PBUs. I knew what you called it. I just wanted to hear Fred say it. He had 2 PBUs that I think was crucial in the game, but he also flew around. You just heard him. You saw him the whole game. He was hitting his shoulder. You could tell something going on. Got a little sleeve on his shoulder and all. But the reason why, to me, he's an under the radar guy because we haven't talked about him. We haven't mentioned him nothing that he done in practice, and we knew he was a guy that we had our eye on last year that got a chance to play a lot last year. So now, second year, to see how he matured a little bit, already showing signs that he might be one of those guys we can call on. I think somebody else had the same guy in mind. What you think, London?
Tana, my under-the-radar player is second-year cornerback Christian Holmes. We know who our top 3 cornerbacks will be. Benjamin St. Jude's, Kendall Fuller, and the first-round rookie corner Emmanuel Forbes. And you figure Danny Johnson, he'll probably be the 4th cornerback. But there's a competition taking place for the 5th defensive back. And Christian Holmes, he had a strong game against the Cleveland Browns, made a couple pass breakups, showing his physicality. Last year, he was great on special teams, struggled a little bit when he was forced into action to play cornerback based on injuries. But this year, you see a different type of player, one who's motivated. You can see his confidence out on the field. He served notice that he's definitely in the mix to be that 5th cornerback for this team. So that's my under-the-radar, Tana. Guys, back to you.
Great to hear from our captain, London Fletcher, but now we have to transition back to the battle of the Beltways.
We've done this a couple times. That's the best one you've done.
I'm getting lower
every time.
Yeah, so you know what's coming.
Yeah.
We're comparing the 2 teams.
Okay, yeah.
Which team has the better receiving core?
I mean, that's not even a question.
It's not a question.
Come on, Chuck Woolery. You can do better than that. At the end of the day, it's going to be Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown, because nobody likes to bring him up as the 4th. That shows depth. I'm going to go with the group that already proved it instead of the group that just patched everything together.
Yeah, I think, obviously, like, Odell Beckham's there, and everyone's like, Odell Beckham, he's amazing. He's come off an injury, right? Hasn't kind of been himself for a couple years now. And then Zay Flowers is a good rookie player. But where does he fit in the NFL? He hasn't established anything. I think we've got a much better kind of stable of guys here.
Proven and the unproven. So Washington proved already. So.
Here's a better one. Which team has a better defense?
That's a great question.
Now he wants to start some trouble. There was a little Sajak in there. All right, I'm going to go with the Washington group because I feel like we better up front. Nobody would dispute that. We have the better front. And I think we got the better collective back end. Like Forbes and those guys, I think are better, a step better than Humphries and those guys. They got us at linebacker. I think they got the better group at linebacker, but that ain't enough to get them over.
That linebacker group's excellent. But I think our defensive line, the 4 first-rounders, Chase looking like he's back in form. The back end with the addition of Forbes. I mean, it's just the depth and the talent is just so unique. And they have a different style of defense, right? They got that kind of 3-4. They got bigger kind of space-eating guys, but I think, man, I don't know how you go the other way.
You hear Ravens, you think about the old
defense,
the guys in the past, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed.
Not
today. We're going with Burgundy and Gold.
Burgundy and Gold. There we go. All right, Tana.
All right. Best food.
So don't ask me this question.
I'm gonna give it to the crab cake guys. I mean,
no.
Yeah, I don't even know what
Baltimore is known for crab cakes. They say crab cake in football, but they got no Hall of Famers, so we're going to take the football out of that. And we'll say crab cakes and lobster rolls.
Okay.
That's what they do at a very high level.
So shellfish.
Yes, that's what they do. Now when you talk DC, we talking mumbo sauce, which I'm going to get you some. Don't you worry about it. Mumbo sauce and what we say? Half smokes from Ben's Chili Bowl. Now we going quality. They got us. And we want quality, they got us. Because basically, we got mumbo sauce that we putting on a half smoke. A half smoke is a long sausage.
Okay.
That you can add. You eat kind of healthy, I understand.
I don't know what that is.
So if we're going delicacy, are we going taste?
I don't know. Fred, based on the items of food you've described. Lobster rolls, tasty. Crab cake, tasty. You described a sauce.
I did.
And a glorified hot dog.
I did.
So, I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just going to go with smooth answer because he knows everything about everything. So, what?
Always fit.
Baltimore.
We're going to go with Baltimore on this one.
Okay,
we have more diverse food palette, but the ones we're known for, that was the question you asked. We're known for mumbo sauce and half smokes.
We're going to continue this debate. That's going to do it for Command Center. We'll see you on Monday night for Game Day Live. See ya.
Ben's Chili Bowl.